there's something I wanted to talk to you about. I saw this incredible post today and I wanted to share the sentiment with you. First of all, it's okay if you're not where you want to be in life. It's okay if you haven't made the money you've wanted or dreamt about making this year. It's okay if you've gotten divorced, if you've broken up. It's okay if you're graduating and you don't know what to do with the rest of your life. It's okay if you're in a job that doesn't fill your soul. It's okay if you've been putting everybody else first. It's okay if you haven't stuck to your goals. But let me tell you what's not okay. What's not okay is for you to stay in a place or a job or a relationship or a routine that doesn't serve you anymore. That's not okay. And that's what I want to talk to you about, because you could change your life with one decision. And the only decision that you need to make is you need to decide that you are going to level things up right now. That despite where you are, despite what's happened behind you, you are going to take a giant step forward and you are going to do the work to change your life. That's what I want to talk to you about today, because it's the move that you're afraid to make. That's the one move that changes everything. Whether it is deciding to completely change your career or deciding to tell somebody that you love that as much as you love them, you don't love how you feel around them in this relationship. It's being afraid to change your major, being afraid to go back to school, being afraid to say to somebody that you love, I love you too much to continue in this dynamic, and one of the requirements for me to stay in this relationship is for you to go to therapy. You can do that. The other person gets to choose what they're going to do, but you get to choose what you will stand for and what you won't. And then the people around you either show up or they don't. And for those of you that have a business, this was me for a long time. I had a business, but I was shy about marketing it. I had something to sell, but I was embarrassed to sell it. I, for years, was way too concerned about what all my friends would think when I started posting on social media about what I was doing in my professional life. And I wasted years of my life that way. If you are ready to shake off the last 3 years and truly level up the game, wouldn't you love to tap back into excellence? Wouldn't you love to feel at the end of the day that you spent focused, aligned, intentional time on something that mattered to you? That instead of letting self-doubt or fear or all the excuses or the fires that pop up and the distractions, instead of letting that program your day, what if you got serious and you decided, this is the moment I'm going to level up. This is the moment I'm going to commit to something bigger. I am not going to let myself waste another year where I'm merely surviving, or where I feel discouraged all the time, where I'm low energy, where all my time goes into things I don't really care about. If my life is going to change, I'm going to make a decision to change it. And the reason why the decision is so important is because you know this because you follow me. The things that you actually have to do, the actions are really simple. If you want to make more money, you probably know the things that you need to do, whether it's cold calling or spending more time on marketing or spending some time developing a skill around AI or finally hiring people to do some of the things that are not money makers so that you can focus on doing what only you can do. You kind of know this, but you've been, whether it's lazy or it's fear or it is old habits, you have not made a decision to get serious about the discipline. You have been accepting something that is no longer acceptable in your life. And this is why it's so important to understand that the change is going to start with you. And it begins with a decision that I am going to, starting now, I'm going to demand something different of myself. Starting now, I'm going to get serious about what leveling up looks like. Starting now, I'm going to take all those things that have been on the back burner that keep getting pushed off, whether it's your manuscript, that you want to write, or it's the YouTube channel that you want to start, or it's converting your social media from you just doom scrolling everybody else's stuff and actually getting serious about promoting your business. I know so many of you are coaches or therapists, or you're real estate agents, or you have an MLM business, or you are a retail broker, or you are selling insurance, and you're not doing what you need to do to grow your business. You're still in survival mode. You're going through the motions, and you're hoping that the market turns around, or you're hoping that something happens. You got to be the one that makes it happen. That's my message today. And what's so cool when you wake up and realize, oh, wait a minute, I just have to make a decision that I'm serious about this. I'm serious about leveling up. I'm serious about cutting out the distractions. I'm serious about letting this be the moment that I really step into my power, that I really tap back into excellence and execution and some simple discipline, because that's what's going to get you results. Everybody that you admire, all they're doing is continuing to show up and chip away and not let their excuses or their overwhelm get in the way. They're saying no to a lot of things that don't matter. And they're saying yes to the things. And I see what you guys are saying, right? That I want to create art again. I, really want to tap into that excellence. I want to write that manuscript. I want to be writing original music. Yeah, I know I have an incredible coaching capacity in the wellness space or as a business coach. I'm not marketing myself, Mel. Or maybe you've got an incredible consulting practice, but you don't have an online course. And you've probably bought a bunch of courses, but you've never done them. It's time to execute, everybody. It is time for you to actually see yourself taking the actions, because that's the only thing that will change you. This is a program about action. This is a program about breakthroughs that you see in life and in work. This is about working for something and working through your excuses and your self-doubt. This is about you seeing yourself level up your excellence, your focus, your strategic thinking. This is about you thinking bigger. This is about you taking bigger and bolder actions. This is about you finally doing the thing that you've been thinking about doing forever. You want to know why? No one is coming. It's up to you. You want to be a singer-songwriter? It's up to you to write those songs. You want a YouTube channel? It's up to you to create it. You want to have a new skill that you're learning? It's up to you to learn it. You want your business to grow? It's up to you to grow it. You want your marriage to change? It's up to you to change it. If you want to be the healthiest that you've ever been by the end of this year, it's up to you to make those new habits stick. If you want to end the self-doubt and the self-criticism and the unhappiness that has plagued you for your entire life because your parents passed that stuff down to you, it's up to you to do the work on your mindset. Anything that you want in your life is achievable if you're willing to work on it. And it's a lot easier for you to work on it when you have a coach, when you have somebody holding you accountable, and when you have somebody like me revealing the obstacles that you didn't even realize were obstacles. Some of the things that I love in this, I've never taught in another course. So if you really loved some of the things that I taught in Take Control in terms of being a box stepper or a box jumper, wait until we talk about the mindset model of an iceberg. I am going to blow your mind with that. It will forever change you. A lot of you are asking, how long will I have the curriculum, Mel? You're going to have it for 6 months. And the reason why you're going to have it for 6 months is because that way you'll use it. That way you will come back to it. If you think you're going to have it forever, you might not even start the course. How many courses have you bought and you don't even start? That's not how a Mel Robbins course starts. We watch what you're doing. We want you to complete this. 85% of the people that did our course last year, or no, 90, it was 95%, right? It's unheard of because we are on you and we're in there with you, okay? I'm going to be writing my manuscript as my project. When does this course end? October. October, 6 months from now. There is another theme, and the last live training is on my 55th birthday, which is October 6th, because I thought There is nothing I would want to do more than spend my 55th birthday live with you, celebrating the breakthroughs that you've had. There is nothing more that I would like to do than to have a gigantic party with you where we really, really grab the win of committing and taking responsibility for creating incredible things in our life. No one's coming. No one's coming, everyone. No one. I want to talk about this concept today and why it's not a scary concept, but it is a profound and empowering concept. That no one is coming to do the work for you. Nobody is coming to take responsibility for your dreams. Nobody is coming and gonna get that project done that you've been thinking about doing. No one is coming to grow your business, to heal your pain, to improve your marriage, or to make more money for you. It is up to you. It has always been up to you. Your life is your responsibility. Your dreams are your dreams, and that's a good thing because nobody can achieve your dreams but you. And I want to talk to you today about the fact that you could continue to wish or to hope or to want things to change, but the only thing that will make your life change is when you work for it. When you realize that there is nothing that you can change about what's happened in the past, but you can make a decision to take responsibility for who you become and what you achieve in the future. And that's what I want to talk about today. Taking responsibility, how it is courageous, it's an act of confidence, being excited about doing the work, being empowered about doing the work. That is the opportunity that is right in front of you today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, today. And I wanted to talk to you about this because we have a daughter who is graduating, and she's a singer-songwriter. I've talked about her a lot on the podcast. She's also been on the podcast, and she knows what her dream is. She knows that she wants to create a career as a recording artist, a touring recording artist. And she wrote to me, and she's kind of in the throes of college ending and all the sadness. And boy, is that like an amazing roller coaster of realizing that 4 years have gone by and all these people that you've been living with and taking classes with and partying with and sharing life with, everybody's about to disperse. And you're never going to have this group of people together in this pattern and this energy ever again. That sort of mourning that happens is going on. But here's what she said to me. She said, I am so scared as I look to the future. And if you're scared as you look to the future, I don't know how I'm going to grow this business. I don't know how I'm going to improve my life. I want to tell you something. There is no reason to be scared. The only reason to be scared is if you're not doing the work to get what you want in life. The only reason to be scared is if you are paralyzed in your thinking, because it is very simple to identify the work that you need to do to improve any area of your life. The work that our daughter needs to do, it's not scary. She needs to get a job to pay her bills, and she needs to spend as much time as possible writing music. And if you do that and you chip away at it, eventually everything works out. And so there is no reason for you to be scared. There is just the greatest opportunity on the planet for you to take responsibility for this next chapter of your life. Because again, no one is coming. No one's coming to do the work. Nobody is coming to make more money. Nobody is going to grow your business for you. Nobody is going to get in better shape for you. It's up to you. Now, that said, no one's coming to do the work, but I, Mel Robbins, am here with an incredible opportunity that I want to tell you about. I want to be your coach. And so many of you ask me day in and day out, Mel, how do I get you to coach me? There's only one way that you can work with me as your coach, and it's happening right now. I am not going to give you a hard sell. I am not going to pressure you to do anything. As you know, 99% of what I do in the world is zero cost, 100% free. But there are a large number of you who have always wanted to work with me as your coach in a very structured program. And registration for the only coaching program that Mel Robbins leads, that Mel Robbins has created, it is happening right now. And this will sell out. It's going to sell out because last year it sold out. And within 24 hours, we had 9,000 people on the wait list who wished they would have taken action and jumped in. So doors are open. We are only going to leave registration open until it sells out, or at the latest, May 4th. May 4th is when registration closes, and I'm going to take this live stream to answer your questions and to tell you more about the program, because it is absolutely incredible. I cannot wait for this to start. And there's a lot of visual things that I'm going to show you because I'm a visual learner. And I bring a lot of systems thinking and design thinking models into this curriculum, and it is a curriculum. This is not some sort of live stream program. This is a pre-taped curriculum where I am your professor and I am your coach. And you are with a global student body of successful and awesome, positive, hardworking people who are jumping into this 6-month container with me as your coach in order to make progress on a professional or a personal project. And this is where launch is very different. You see, I created this program because there's a lot of programs out there that teach you concepts. I wanted to create a program that was about action, that took you from the habit of thinking about things and making plans and gave you instead the coaching, the accountability, and the systems that you need in order to get the work done. Because you can learn all you want in life, but if you don't actually apply the learning, you will never change anything. And so my coaching program, Launch, the name is very important, Launch. It is called Launch because it's about launching into action. Here is the workbook for Launch. Look at this. Don't be intimidated by how big this is, because this is 6 months of coaching.
There's so many people that I think are sitting there, and I have a personal friend who is struggling right now. And
why?
She doesn't listen to my financial struggles, lost her house, some poor financial decisions. There was job loss. There's, overeating. She's overweight. Drinking's not an issue, but just like there's a lot of really good in her life too, where I keep trying to remind her, but just really, let's go for a walk. Let's do things. Let's start taking some positive action. And I'm sitting here listening to what you're saying and this downward spiral that you were in. And it's when you're not, I keep thinking she just feels helpless. Like that's the word that keeps coming up. And I think there's probably a lot of people out there that might be listening and say, I can relate to that feeling of I'm on this downward spiral in X, Y, and Z part of my life. And I just don't know what to do. So it's easier to wait, not easier, but like to wave the white flag and just stay in that is like the devil you know versus the devil you don't, because you don't know what's on the other side. Or maybe I don't, then you start to say, maybe I don't deserve happiness, or maybe I don't deserve this. You start telling yourself these narratives. So you had this epiphany, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word. So you did this and it changed your life. Can you walk us through a little bit about that? And then I just want people that might be going, it can't be that simple. Like I can't be.
It's not easy. It is simple.
Yes.
It is not easy. And the reason why change is not easy is because your brain loves patterns.
Mhm.
And so if you get caught in a pattern where you are hitting the snooze button 5 times a morning and waking up late and stressed and overwhelmed, as much as you may hate that feeling, you are locked in a pattern. And the problem that everybody faces is instead of hating the pattern, you hate yourself.
Mm.
And it is critical that you understand in any area of your life where you are stuck, all that's happening is you have patterns of behavior and patterns of thinking that are keeping you stuck. And what you must do, rule number 1, is you must stop labeling yourself. You must stop saying, I'm a bad person. I'm a loser. I'm a failure. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. You must stop labeling yourself and you must start labeling the behavior you don't like. Waking up late is making me feel bad. Drinking an entire bottle of wine and waking up hungover makes me feel like a failure. Snapping at my kids is a behavior that makes me feel like I'm not good enough or that I'm failing as a mom. Do you see the difference between saying I'm a failure because I keep snapping at my kids? I'm not good enough because I drank a bottle of wine last night. There I go again. I'm a bad person because I keep hitting the snooze button and I can't get out of bed. When you can separate yourself from the behavior you want to change, you now are free to change the behavior without indicting, sentencing, and locking yourself in a jail of self-criticism. Under the weight of that self-criticism, I am a bad person. I screw everything up. I'm a failure. That weight of self-criticism is the reason why you don't feel inspired to change. This opinion became a belief. And as you repeat it and keep saying it and saying it, see, I didn't pay my bills. I'm a bad person. See, I didn't do this. I'm a bad person. See, I didn't do that. I'm screwing up my life. See. And you keep labeling yourself. It becomes your identity. And then all sorts of stuff kicks in your brain in terms of the filter of your brain. And so step number 1 in changing your life, stop labeling yourself and start identifying and labeling the patterns of behavior and patterns of thinking that make you feel bad. And then go to work and fucking change them.
I love it, because so much of what I do when I talk to people is, talking to people about whether it's their physical clutter, their emotional clutter, or what I call calendar clutter, being overscheduled and running all
I have that.
places. And
I have that.
That's my dominant type of clutter. But we talk about clutter is just the symptom. It's just the symptom of the bigger issue that's going on.
True.
And so a lot of the work that I do, because I like to pretend like I'm a psychologist, I play one on TV, is about understanding that these are behavior changes that we do to take those actionable steps in our life, specifically relating to something simple like we're going to open the mail. So we're not going to have late fees. We're going to pay our bills on time because we're going to start with a little changing our behavior of opening the mail. That's just one example.
As you know, opening bills is one of the most confronting things in the world for somebody who feels that they have made bad financial decisions. It is not a little thing. It's everything.
I couldn't agree more. And when I have people that talk to me about their clutter and they say, well, I have a lot of physical clutter and it's specifically paper and mail. When I unpack that with them, I explain to them that really paper clutter is 9 times out of 10 emotional clutter. It stems from guilt or fear or overwhelm, and we procrastinate because we don't know what to do. And so it is so much more emotional than it is. It manifests itself in piles of paper and physical stuff. But at the end of the day, when I walk into somebody's house and I see bags of unopened mail, that's an emotional issue. That is not, I'm a busy mom running a million different directions and I've got toys everywhere and I just need a better system to put them away. That's a different type of a situation that you need to address. And so your strategy is going to be different. So a lot of the work, obviously, that you do is about helping people be the best versions of themselves, which I believe when you feel good about yourself. And I was just having this conversation with a girlfriend of mine yesterday. When I walk into somebody's house and I see chaos and clutter, I don't judge anybody because who am I? But I look at it as what is chaotic in your life that it's manifesting like this. Like this is a symptom of something else crazy going on in your world. Something's out of alignment in your world.
Mel, I'm all signed up, but I'm really nervous.
Okay.
I don't have much money, and I feel like it has always held me back from being able to go after my dreams. Can you do this program if you also can't spend a ton of money on the tools to work on them?
Wait, okay. So this person, first of all, what's their name?
Andrew.
Andrew, thank you for signing up. I'm super excited to do this course, Best Decade Ever, with you. And I see in your question, you said you don't have a lot of money and you feel like it's always held you back. Here's the cool thing about the course. Not only is the course free, but everything I'm teaching is free. So there is no money you need to spend to get the most out of this course. No kidding. You should not have to spend money to change your life. There are plenty of free things that you can do in your mind, actions you can take, resources, thanks to the internet, that you can leverage in order to start to inch your life forward. And if you continue to say, I don't have money, I'm the kind of person that's broke, we got to change the way that you think about your dreams and money, because the lack of money right now is shrinking your ability to dream out 10 years and realize that over the course of that amount of time, you can change absolutely everything about your life. Do you realize your cells regenerate every 7 years? That means you have an entirely new body. You can change anything over the course of 10 years of your life. Absolutely anything. And if that amount of time scares the shit out of you, don't worry. We're just going to use 10 years as a paradigm so that you think bigger. But what I'm going to teach you are all the micro changes that go along in terms of your day-to-day life and how you think and what you do. The small little shit. I'm telling you, 10 minutes a day is all you need to continually inch towards your dreams and to feel like you're doing something to improve your life. So Andrew, you don't need to spend a dime, honey. Not a dime. And I'm super thrilled that you've signed up. Awesome.
Want to take one more?
Yeah, let's take one more.
All right. I saw what you said about relationships and having a week about that, and that's really interesting. But are they important to our dreams? Why is it
who's this question from?
Andrea.
Andrea, why are relationships are everything when it comes to your dreams? And here's why. We are social creatures, and we have a hardwired need to be connected to a group of people. It comes from the need to be safe. If you stop and think about it, human beings are the only, I think, mammal that I know somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong on this, but I'm going to go out on a limb and basically say human beings are one of the few species that require around the clock care for at least 2 to 3 years, or else you will die. Think about it. You can't even walk until you're a year old. How the hell would you run away from danger? You can't pick anything up. You can't feed yourself. You have to have human connection. So we are hardwired for survival to be connected and to be liked by the people around us. That's how we went from being popped out of the womb and into the world and being able to become a functioning human being. You had to have other people that liked you enough to take care of you. The problem is now that you're an adult, you still
look to being liked by people over everything else in your life. And so if you're around a group of people that are sarcastic, are negative, don't have any aspirations for themselves, have shitty habits, it's going to be really hard for you to build momentum in your life and have better habits, to build something, to level up from where the people that you're with are at. And that's the negative. So if you're around negative people, if you're around people that have no aspirations for themselves, if you're around people that don't think big, if you're around people that have that learned helplessness, where, oh, they're always afraid they're going to get in trouble, or, oh, you know, why would you do that? Why, you know, scaredy cats around you that basically want to spend the weekend fucking drinking in order to feel better about the lives that they're not happy about. That is the biggest reason why you're not doing shit about your dreams. If you look at it on the positive, imagine how much your life changes when you're around a group of people that is striving for more. Have you ever been part of a sports team or a debate team or some club in school or church where you guys were all volunteering together, or you were going after a championship, and the group effort and the group striving for something brought out the best in you? That's what you want out of your friend group. That's what you want out of your dream team, if you will, of people around you. This team of people that maximize your dreams. Also, the other reason why this is super important is you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I have a gang of 5 is what we call ourselves. It's a mastermind group full of people, 5 of us, all 4 of them way smarter than me. Why is that important? Because if you're the smartest one that you surrounded yourself with, how the hell are you going to learn more? And so part of why this program is so important is I need you to understand, if you're around negative people, go party with them. But do not pour your dreams and your aspirations into these people. If you want more out of your life, you got to surround yourself with people that want more out of their lives too. If you want to go and write a book, you better surround yourself with people that have either done it or are doing it, because that's going to make it easier for you to do it. It's very simple. Is it harder to run on your own or to run with a huge group of people running a race? Obviously, it's a lot easier when you're running a race with a huge group of people. The momentum of other people doing something, people being ahead of you, it pulls you forward. And so you can create that dream team of people around you. And one of the coolest things that you're going to get for free is when you get in this Facebook group, there's going to be all these people, 100,000 of them. We've got almost 50,000 people registered for this course, and we're not even closed for registration yet. Almost 100,000 people in a private Facebook group, all of whom are going after their bigger dreams. So if you feel like you don't even know how to make friends, or you don't know where to begin with that, don't worry, we got you covered. We've got you covered. There will be people in this program that have the same dreams as you. There'll be people in this program that have achieved the things that you dream about. That's where the magic comes in. You know, there's that famous saying, you want to know how much money you make? Look at the 5 people that you spend the most time with. How much money do they make? You want to know how good a shape you're in? Look at the people that you hang out with, the 5 people. What kind of shape are they in? You want to look at the trajectory that you're on in your career? Look at the 5 people that you hang out with outside of work and what they're doing with their lives. And you will see whether or not you are surrounded by a dream team of people that is pulling you to something even bigger in your life, or if you're leveling out. And look, there's nothing wrong with your friends that want to just party on the weekends in order to blow off steam about how miserable they are. That's fine to do every once in a while. Those are great people to party with, but they are not the people that are going to help you get to the next level. I swear to God.
If you train your mind to start spotting evidence as you're doing the work, as you're going through your day, it will help you. If you train your mind to start scanning the world and spotting evidence that yes, indeed, the world is sending you positive signals that things are going to work out. Now, why is it important to train your mind to help you get what you want? Well, the reason why is because if you get into a negative mindset, if you start thinking, shit, this business is never going to work, why even bother? Or I'm never going to meet anybody. It's nothing but losers out there. Look at all these idiots on Hinge. Why the hell should I keep doing this? If you allow your mind to start to rest in a pessimistic, negative, protective, scared, and doubtful stance, your mind will continue to show you reasons why there's nobody on Hinge worth talking to. Your mind will continue to show you all the reasons why you will never make it in business. Your mind will continue to show you all the reasons why you're never going to lose that weight and be able to tuck in your shirt, as my friend Corinne Crabtree always talks about, that transformational moment. And when your mind goes negative, your mind starts to scan the world and will show you more reasons to stop. And the power of training your mind to spot positive signs is very simple. The power is that your mind will start to show you reasons to keep going. Your mind will help you take the step. Your mind will encourage you to feel optimistic, to feel empowered. Just like you woke up today on a Tuesday and it was February 22nd, 2022, and those numbers are lining up, and that makes you in your heart and soul go, whoa, something cool could happen today. Like, that shit only happens like once in my lifetime, those numbers are going to line up like that. Today is a really cool day. Let's go do something with this. You could create that kind of attitude every single freaking day of your life. You could. If you train your mind and if you start taking action. And training your mind is the key piece that we're going to talk about. So for those of you that have read The High Five Habit, one of the things that I talk about a lot is every single day find a naturally occurring heart-shaped object in the world. It could be a stone, it could be a leaf, it could be a cloud, it could be a shape in your coffee. Hey Chris, if we've got anything around here that looks like a heart, hand it to me. And the reason why I love telling you to start playing a game with yourself where you start your day going, mind, brain, show me some heart. Oh, what is this? Come here.
Dog treat.
Oh my God, it's a dog treat. Look at this, guys. What shape is that, bitches? That right there is a heart, bitches. There we go. Check that out. If you say, brain, mind, show me a fucking heart today, guess what's going to happen? That damn dog biscuit, you're going to be like, there's a heart. You're going to look out at the sky and you're going to see a heart shape. Oh, right there in the mountains. There's a heart shape in the mountains in southern Vermont. You're going to see it in the clouds. What you're doing when you tell your mind what's important to you is you're telling your mind and the filter in your brain to change in real time and allow into your consciousness what's important to you. And if you want to see hearts, by God, those damn dog treats are going to start looking like hearts, everybody. That's how you train your mind. It's freaking incredible. And if you want to see evidence of this, follow me on social media. If you follow me, Mel Robbins, on social media, you will see every day I am reposting your stories of finding heart shapes around the world. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because it's a simple way to prove to you that your mind changes in real time. That if you get serious about becoming more positive and optimistic and encouraging of yourself, if you get serious about saying, fuck this, I don't want to see all the reasons why I'm unhappy. I don't want to see everybody else in the world that's launched a business or that's lost weight and is healthy or that has a really good marriage or relationship. And I don't want to see that shit and have my mind process it as evidence that it's never going to happen for me. I want my mind to reprogram itself and see other people's businesses and see other people getting healthy and see other people in relationships. And I want my mind to say, fucking yeah, if they can do it, I can do it. That's evidence. If that person can get healthy, so can I. If that person can find somebody on Hinge, so can I. If that person can reconcile with their child, so can I. Other people can become evidence that you can have it too. Right now, your mind is so fucked up from your past that when you see what other people have and you don't have it, you can't actually translate it through a negative mind and see that that's evidence that you're going to win. You see it like, oh, somebody already stole what I wanted. That sucks. And so what I want to start to open your mind to is that you have the power to train your mind to filter the world differently. Just like you woke up and you saw the date today, 2/22/22, and your brain saw that and was like, whoa, this is a once in a lifetime day, everybody. You are never going to have another day that lines up like this, ever. What are you going to do with this day? Your mind already interpreted this as, wow, something cool could happen. And if you tell yourself something amazing is going to happen today, something will, because you're going to be looking for it. I swear to God, something will. Something will. If you want to see the good all around you, you got to tell your mind you want to see the good. And this just isn't a bunch of horse shit, everybody. This isn't toxic positivity. There is a filter in your brain called the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system. I call it the RAS. I like to think about it like a giant hairnet on your head. And this RAS sits over your brain. I'm probably getting this wrong. I'm not a neuroscientist. I could give a shit about getting it right. I just need you to know the basics here so that you can apply it to your life, okay? You don't need a PhD to use the science that super smart people have been working really hard on in order to apply it to your life. That's what I'm here for in your life. I'm here to translate this stuff into simple, believable, and actionable things that you can do to take all this super cool stuff that people are researching and apply it to your normal person's everyday life to help you change from the inside out. And one of the coolest things that you have at your disposal is you have a whole system in your body that you can train and change. And one of those things that you can train and change that is impacted by that word you're hearing a lot of, neuroplasticity, that just means that things are able to twist and bend and change, and you're able to learn new things for as long as you're alive. As long as you're breathing, everybody, you got a chance to change the way that you think. As long as you are breathing, you got a chance to change from the inside out how you experience your life. As long as you are still here watching me, people, you got a chance to create a new experience in your life. And one of the things that helps a lot is understanding that right now, all of the bullshit from your past has jammed the filter in your mind, body, and spirit, the reticular activating system. And it is clouding your ability to look at the world around you and see hearts. Remember this? Dog treat, hearts, bitches. Look at that. There's a heart right there. If I'm gonna ask you, I want you to find a heart today, and I want you to tag me at Mel Robbins when you do. Okay? Tag me. Whoa, we got somebody whose birthday is today. Damn, you better declare something amazing on 2/22/22. That's freaking awesome. Fabulous for you. So here's the thing. Your past has completely fucked up the reticular activity system. The reason why you doubt yourself, the reason why you think nothing works out for you, the reason why you're seeking validation from everybody else is because your life trained you to do that. And I'm here to tell you, you can wake the hell up and you can realize that from this moment forward, you have the ability, using simple and believable tools, to reclaim your mind, body, and spirit, to retrain it, and to use it to help you feel the way that you want to feel, to experience life the way that you want to experience life, and to build a sense of momentum as you go through your day and you start to see all kinds of stuff around you as evidence that you can have it too. I'll give you a simple example. So as many of you know, for a very long time, I've always wanted to launch a podcast. I got my start in the media business back in 2007 by having a local radio show in Boston, Massachusetts on a talk radio station on Saturday mornings. That's what I did. I made $25 an hour. I hosted a show for 2 hours, a live call-in show where we talked about what was going on in the world. It was an advice show. I absolutely loved it. And from there, that show grew. It then became a Sunday night show in Atlanta, and then I got a 5-day-a-week show in Orlando. So you're looking at a woman who got her start in the media business doing local radio. I paid for our kids' braces by reading Invisalign ads for the local dentist. So I have been in sort of the radio or podcast business since 2007, since before podcasts. And then my life took detours like it did. I have not been in radio since, God, 2011, maybe? So a long time, 10 years. And I've been thinking about launching a podcast for 5 years, everybody. 5 years. And every time I would think about it, my mind would look around, and my mind, my reticular activity system, the filter in my brain, was clogged with all kinds of crap. And when I looked around and I saw all these people launching podcasts, that fact of seeing it would filter through my mind, and my mind would say, there's no room for you. You're too late. You're not going to be as good as those other people. So my mind was looking at the outside world and the fact that everybody and their mother was launching a podcast 5 years ago, and they still are today. And it would pass through the filter in my brain, and my brain would say to me, Mel, you're fucked. You might as well just stop thinking about it because you're too late, woman. How many of you do that to yourself? That you see other people having what you want, and the way that fact that somebody else has gotten healthy, or somebody else has made $1 million, or somebody else has launched a business online, or somebody else has found somebody after divorce and is happier than ever. And you see that and you immediately assume, I'm fucked. Like, it's never going to happen for me. Instead of having your brain go, whoa, look at that. Look at all these people out there doing this. If they can do it, you can do it too, Mel. Look at that. You got all these people that can give you advice. You got all these people that are lights on the path that you want to walk down. How cool is that? You got all kinds of information, all kinds of help, all kinds of evidence that's positive. Well, the reason why my mind didn't see it as positive is the same reason why your mind does not see everybody else's business and everybody else's health journey and everybody else's bank account and everybody else's fancy vacations, or when you walk into a bar and all your girlfriends get hit on instead of you. Your mind does not see all of that as evidence that it's going to eventually work out for you, because your mind is clogged with all kinds of crap from your past. And I'm here to tell you, when you wake up and realize that you could train your brain to wake up every day and go, holy shit, today's going to be a magical day. Today is going to be that 2/22/22 day where you immediately see this. You know, this is the one day of your life where this is going to be the day. Come on in, Jesse. Jesse's here. Hey, YOLO! YOLO, come on in. You could literally train your mind to wake up every day and go, damn it, I'm going to see a heart today. And I'm going to see evidence today that shit's working out for me. And when my mind starts to see that this is going to work out for me, I'm going to feel more empowered. I'm going to feel more inspired, and I'm going to keep going. Because the bottom line is, everybody, your positive mindset helps you with momentum, repetition, and discipline. Your positive mindset helps you by encouraging you to take the action. Because as you know, because you hang out with me, Mel Robbins, thinking about changing your life is not going to change your fucking life. The only thing that changes your life is action. You want something different, you got to do something different. But a filter in your brain that filters the world in a positive way, in an encouraging way, a filter in your brain that acts more like that annoying friend. You know that annoying friend who's always trying to build you up? And I say annoying because when you're committed to being like, it's never working out for me, I'm never going to meet anybody, I'm never going to lose the weight. And your friend's like, oh, are you kidding? You know how amazing you are? You're like, fuck off. Don't tell me I'm amazing. I want to feel terrible. So when you start to change your brain, when you start to really go to work on this filter, you're going to turn your own mind from a critic and somebody who's nasty into that friend that's really cheering you on. See, this is going to work out for you. See, you should keep going. See, this is really good for you to do. And that's why it's important. It's really hard to take action when you have a shitty mindset. It's really hard to find what's called the activation energy, the force to push yourself through the resistance and the fear, if you are committed to believing that it's not worth doing anyway. And so action is critical. action is where the 5-second rule comes in. But if you want to supersize this and step on the accelerator, you must start to train your mind. And one way you can start to do this is to look for hearts every day. That's one chapter in the book we haven't read yet. See, this is a dog treat that was shaped like a heart. I asked Chris, he scanned the room. Boom, bitches, that's how this works. The other way that you can start to train your mind is to learn about the filter in your brain, to learn about the fact that this filter in your mind has the ability to change in real time what you see. I want to try to summarize the steps to make sure that it's very clear, not only for me, forget about you guys. I want to make sure it's clear for me that first of all, it would be really smart of me to write down a long list of what I want in this next chapter of my life for real, yes, and the why. And you explained that in the example around legacy. So if what I'm really after is more peace, a hell of a lot more fun, and a greater impact with more ease, I need to unpack what does that actually mean?
Yes.
And get very clear about the why. And I know that the why has to do with more time with family, more time with friends, more time and space to do bigger thinking instead of racing around being busy.
Yeah.
The second thing that I got out of this is very like radical. And that is when the fear or the anxiety or the worry or the self-doubt, that little, like, we're going to talk about the negative bitch first before we talk about the whisper. The negative bitch in your head is just your ego trying to protect you.
Yeah.
And so when that anxiety comes up, or I wake up and I feel like that hot lava on my neck and my thoughts start to swirl, don't try to outrun it. Face the bitch and be like, all right, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, you think I'm gonna be lonely on a mountain because I'm lonely in suburbia? You think I'm not gonna have any friends there because I don't have friends here? Okay, you think I'm not gonna be successful doing it there because I'm not, like, oh, okay. And hear it. And then the way that you take the bitch and you flip her into your best friend is you say, what is this trying to warn me? What is this trying to coach me? What are the things that it's saying? Hey, if you're gonna go do this, just know that you might feel lonely and that's okay. So what are you going to do about it? If you're going to go do this, just know that you should probably, reach out to friends that are doing podcasts from remote places. If you're going to do this, so that you know what steps to take. And it's in taking the steps forward to prepare for plan B.
Yeah.
So that you got a plan for when that stuff happens, that is going to allow you to access the radical confidence, which feels radical, in a moment where you're doubting yourself. And you just keep pushing forward and you do it over and over and over and over and over again. Because what's interesting is you also said this thing about the whisper, that the things that are meant for you and the things that are true begin as a whisper.
Mm-hmm.
And when you really start to hear the whisper, whether it's, I'm going to sign up for this program, even though it scares me, or I'm going to not have kids and sit down with my spouse, even though it scares me, or I'm going to, make a major life change and it scares me. As you start to hear the whisper, I think there's a pretty close period of time where that whisper turns into a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because she's like, hang on a minute, you're freaking ignoring me. Let me get my megaphone so that you don't.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
And then that last piece is making sure that you understand your belief, why you feel the way you do actually, Mel, because you even said your parents never moved out of the house that you were born in, correct? Your grandparents never did. So you have it seems like a belief system that holding on to the house that maybe your kids were brought up in is something and I don't want to speak for you, but maybe something you feel like you should do. Or maybe feel like it's something that you saw your parents do, and now you're actually breaking that pattern. And for me, it was the same. My grandparents, my mom, everyone ended up like basically thinking that I would be this stay-at-home wife, or I would be a mother. And in order for me to listen to the silence and break that, I had to say, oh, it's because I believed that this was what was going to happen. I never questioned it. So I don't know if you've ever questioned whether the house that you're in, whether it should be something that you should be in for the rest of your life, or if it was just a belief system you hold on to.
It's just a belief system I hold on to. Like, I know, just like you knew, at some point that whisper became the truth for you.
Right.
I know that it's the truth. And everybody that knows me well is literally like, I thought you would have sold that house like years ago, because like with the amount of stuff you're doing and like, it just doesn't make sense for you to live there. And so like somebody else saw it in you. First.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, exactly. And now
because when I talked to you, and I saw other friends of ours last week because they were visiting Boston, and I was sort of going like in the beginning of the freaking Crest downfall, and it was Joel, Marin, and Kat, and Kat looks at me and she's like, wait, are we really having this conversation? You're like worried about like some place in Vermont, whether you're going to live in an apartment, whether you're going to feel like you're Mel fucking Robbins. What the fuck? Like, and I'm like, you're right. I know how to do that. Why am I? Because I'm human, and because your ego comes in, and because if you keep running, this shit will catch up with you, which is why radical confidence is really about turning and facing it.
Yeah.
Instead of being afraid of it.
And then knowing that the path you choose to take in life will mean that you leave things behind. And that's where the mourning piece comes in. It's like, just because you're making a decision that's right for you shouldn't mean that you shouldn't embrace that you have to mourn the life that you're leaving behind, or the life you thought you were going to live. So maybe, Mel, for when you had your kids, and I, again, don't know, but maybe you're just like, this is the house that I'm going to bring them up in. And you've told yourself year after year after year that that's going to be the house. But now you've changed. Now your goals have changed. Now your life has changed. And now your reassessment of that isn't the same with a person who maybe first had those children.
Oh, I know what it is. You're giving me another breakthrough. Dude, I need to pay you for this.
Oh, I'm here for you. You're my bestie. You know that.
I literally feel like you just saved me. No offense to SSRIs, but I'm feeling like I'm like back. I'm feeling like the woman that crawled out of the crypt this morning, and my team had to like prop up and be like, oh God, Mel is not Mel today. That you have brought me back, woman.
So what can we do to get to that moment with routines, practices, disciplines? How do we get there? Because there's got to be there's always something that leads up to it.
Well, one thing that I've learned in life is that your breakdowns are just going to keep getting bigger until you wake the fuck up and get the lesson that the universe is sending. I mean, period. It took me a long time to see that I had a very painful pattern of being drawn to really big personality people who were really fun and edgy and just like, wow, like a shiny object. And then, when you're having fun with this kind of person and you're laughing all the time and they're really edgy, and you start to realize, oh my God, they're actually kind of mean to people, or they lie, or they do this. Now, all of a sudden I get scared because I don't know how to back away. And time and time and time and time, like I can go all the way back to friends in elementary school, to a babysitter that I once hired, to business associates back in the day, to like just there they are. And it wasn't until I had a massive issue happened with one of them that was super painful that made me go, holy shit, this is a pattern. This person has been showing up in your life since you were 9 years old, and you have not learned it. And now you have a very expensive and a very messy and a very awful situation to clean up with somebody that you couldn't draw boundaries with, period, because you were so worried about upsetting anybody or disappointing, like you're people pleasing. And so one thing to understand is your life is the greatest school you're ever going to attend, and it's always sending you messages.
Preach.
And I hope you're not as stubborn as I am, because it took me 41 years to see the lesson about toxic behavior that I was attracted to
Yeah.
and toxic behavior that I engaged in my own people pleasing and inability to draw a line and like distance myself or end relationships that really didn't work. And I know they don't work because I get that feeling in my stomach. And then I see myself twisting myself in knots so as to not upset somebody who's basically crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm now like turning all around to not upset the person that is, I'm afraid of their reaction because they're not regulated in terms of their emotions. And so it took me a long time. And so I want you to understand, if you're listening to this, that if you're in a frustrating situation, I want you to ask yourself, number one, when in my life have I felt like this before? And who has made me feel like this? What situations have made me feel like this? And start listing them. And when you see one, you'll see another, and then another, and then another. And then there's that boss, and then there's a situation. And then you'll ask yourself, what is it that I'm doing that is having me show up in this situation again? And so I identified kind of the personality pattern that I was drawn to: fun, unpredictable, like life of the party, like kind of like just, woo, this feels fun and this feels on edge because I can't predict what's going to happen because this person's so entertaining, only to realize, holy shit, the same thing that drew me in is what's scaring me now and turning me into a massive people pleaser that makes me go crazy. And so if you can identify that, then you ask yourself, what is the lesson that life is trying to teach me? This person is being sent into my life to teach me a lesson. And for me, the lesson, again, back to your original question, why can't we listen to our instincts? How many of us have started dating or sleeping with somebody that we knew we shouldn't have been dating or sleeping with? And then we keep going back, even though we knew that this is not a person that we should be with. And we like turn into somebody else, reckoning with and this person is being sent into your life for a reason, because you have a pattern that you need to break. And so when you can identify those three things, kind of when in my life have I felt this way before? What are the circumstances or people I've been around? What am I doing that I can see contributes to me getting into these situations? And what is this trying to teach me? And when you can look at it that way, that's how you unpack awful situations or confronting situations, and you look for the lesson in them. And if you don't figure out the freaking lessons you're meant to learn in this lifetime, you will just keep
coming
getting
back.
them. That's it. That is it. And so, that's one thing that I have learned recently. And then the other thing that I have learned, and, it's what I wrote about in the High Five Habit, is this notion that, there's only one person that you spend your whole life with, and it's yourself. And I had this epiphany in April of 2020 when I walked into the bathroom one morning. And, there's a lot of shit going on in my life. And it doesn't even matter what the details were, because I think everybody's had that experience where you're in a season of your life that's just overwhelming. And you don't feel capable or like you have one shred of energy left to face this shit. And I remember standing there in the bathroom, and I had this epiphany one morning where I realized, oh my God, there are always two human beings in the bathroom every morning. There's you, and there's a human being in the mirror. That's not your reflection. If you allow yourself to really look past the body in the mirror and through the eyes, you will see a human, you'll see your soul. And that woman that's staring back at you in the mirror, she is trying. She is so beaten down by you. She is so sick of your criticism. She needs you to wake up and start supporting her and to start being kinder to her. She's doing her best. And kind of this epiphany that I was relentless in my criticism of myself, even just 18 months ago, even having turned my life around, built this business, got our family out of the $1 million in debt, got the liens off the house, which, you know, they were there 6 years ago, the liens from the $1 million in debt that my husband and I were in because of the restaurant business. And despite the fact that I've impacted millions of people's lives, despite the fact that I have 3 kids that are okay, you know, they're healthy, they, you know, are facing their stuff, they're doing their thing, they're going to school, despite the fact that I've been, you know, married for 25 years and we still work on it like, despite the fact that I got a roof over, I look in the mirror and I see a woman that I hated, that wasn't enough, that was doing everything wrong. I was relentlessly focused on what wasn't working instead of all of the things that were going right. And when I had this epiphany that, oh my God, like there's this poor lady in the mirror every morning who just wants me to see her and wants me to start being kinder to her and needs my support, my whole life switched. Like I had life inverted in so many ways because, you know, I was kind of, it sounds like you, like I was brought up, I wasn't in an abusive household at all. I was in like your normal kind of like, you know, happy household, whatever. My parents have their own shit from their childhoods and everybody does. And so, you know, I though kind of had that sense of, okay, tough love, man, push yourself. You got to muscle through it. And I think between the constant criticizing that you do of yourself to try to fit in and the fact that then gets reinforced by experiences in your life, I just adopted a habit that everybody has: rejecting myself, not accepting myself, constantly badgering myself for the things that weren't going right instead of the million things that are.
Yeah.
And when I reversed this and started to add in habits around empowering myself, cheering for myself, forgiving myself, giving myself some grace, being a little kinder to myself, focusing on what's working instead of harping on what's not, it is bananas how much my experience of life changed.
Good job, by the way.
Thank you.
It's hard to get to that point where we actually acknowledge our inner monologue as being important and even notice it instead of being on the wheel of the same shit we say to ourselves in our head every day when we are in the workplace or with our partner or looking in the mirror, and we say the same shit every day, right? I do. And we're harder on ourselves. It's like, I love, you know, I think maybe it was Untethered Soul, but talking about the way that you talk to yourself, like you would never be friends with your inner monologue. Never. Like who would ever be friends with the stuff that we say to ourselves in our head? So what I hear a lot of is I hear accountability in this practice of saying, I'm going to treat myself, my inner child. Like to me, it was, you know, and I hear that, I don't know what you call it, but if it were me looking in the mirror saying that, that's my inner child going, I fucking love you. Like you're beautiful. You're amazing. Why are you so hard on me? Like yourself. Why?
Because you were trained to be hard on yourself. That's the answer. Like
Yeah.
I literally, the thing that's so profound about this for me is that when you realize this is just a pattern of thinking that your mom has with herself, your dad has with himself, every human being is trained to beat themselves up.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make a decision to stop doing it. And it is a conscious decision that you have to intentionally make and then manage all day long. And what's amazing though about your brain is because your brain is designed to learn patterns, the switch is very quick. It's easier, in my opinion, to change the default patterns in your brain than to kind of smooth out the trauma that is remembered in your nervous system.
Oh,
And
sure. Seeing it for the first time takes forever. Changing
Yeah.
it is the quick
Yep.
part. That's why
Yep.
when people are in the shit, I'm like, you're actually a lot further than you think.
Yeah, totally. And so the cool thing is that when you get to work on your thinking patterns, it can happen super fast. In fact, that's why I'm so excited about the idea and the research behind adding a high five in the mirror every morning to your morning routine. And the reason why it is such a powerful habit when it comes to your inner monologue is because you're unlocking neuroassociation and programming that is already in your brain, in your nervous system, in your chemistry. And you're now going to aim it back at yourself. And you're going to aim it back at yourself as a way to delete the critic in your head and to replace it with what you need, which is an encouraging voice. And by simply physically raising your hand, don't even say anything, just physically raise your hand and high five the woman you see in the mirror every morning after you brush your teeth. What happens is all the positive programming that's triggered by the physical hand gesture of high fiving, it literally gets triggered right here in your subconscious. So the funny thing is that you can be standing there, you're using your prefrontal cortex, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this stupid high five thing. As you go to raise your hand, you think, Danica and Mel are the dumbest things. I cannot believe I'm doing this shit. And then as you get close to the mirror, something weird happens. Your mind goes silent because your brain is triggered by the high five gesture and pulls programming from your subconscious. This is positive programming in your subconscious.
Yeah.
You've never high fived somebody and thought, I hate you. I hope you lose. Today's a terrible day. You've
Right.
only high five people when you're like, I see you. I love you. Keep going. You got this. We can win. I believe in you.
I
It's
respect
celebratory.
you.
Yeah, I respect you. So when you do it to yourself, the subconscious programming overrides the critic.
Mhm.
It's insane. You will likely laugh the first time you do it because your brain then gives you a drip of dopamine. The other thing that you will feel is you'll feel a slight little kind of like, oh, okay, this weird. But that sort of little energy boost comes because your nervous system is encoded with celebratory energy. When your team scores, you throw your hands in the air. When you're yell surprise at a birthday party, hands in the air. When you cross a finish line, hands in the air. When you wave hello, hands in the air. When you high five somebody, hands in the air. And so when you high five yourself, positive subconscious programming, drip of dopamine boosts your mood, and the celebratory energy in your nervous system gives you a little jolt. And that's not all. Your brain is watching. And your brain sees you treating yourself
Yep.
like a person who cares about you. That leverages behavioral activation therapy because you are now acting like somebody who cares about themselves. And we've done this thing called the High Five Challenge, where I think it's been live for about 48 days. We've had 145,000 people take it. It's a 5-day online experience where I coach you every day in a video. There's 145,000 people in it from 91 countries. We have the data because it's hosted on an app. It's 100% free, and people are joining it every single day. And we have measured the results. Not a single person that's taken it has said this hasn't worked. Not a single one.
Unreal.
We are getting people talking about how it's spreading through AA meetings because there's so much shame and there's such a sense of failure when there's things in your life that you regret. And so, one of the reasons why it's so powerful as a tool for forgiveness is so many people, 50% of men and women, don't or can't look at themselves in the mirror because they don't like the person that they are, or they are disgusted with where they are in life. 91% of people don't like how they look. And so when they look in the mirror, they pick apart or fixate on what they don't like. These are habits of self-rejection.
Of
That
course.
are
It's
so
like giving yourself
hardwired.
the middle finger every
That's-
time. It's like the high five is the opposite of what we normally do, which is basically look in the mirror and go like this, which is
You're
kind of what we say.
1000%
We're
right.
like, oh, your hair is not that, and you're kind of a little fat here, and you're kind of looking a little old there and with gray hair, like, or, just you're a failure. You don't do anything. You don't deserve to get ready and even try today. No one's going to care. You don't care. It's a giant middle finger to yourself most days.
Every day.
The opposite of it. The high five is the opposite of it. What I'm fascinated by also is the physical touch aspect. How does that play into things?
Well, there's a tremendous amount of research about the power of a high five when somebody else gives you one. And it's because there's a transfer of energy from one person to the other. And what they know based on research, because there's two studies that people tend to fixate on once they read the book. And the first one is the study that they did with NBA teams, where researchers at the University of Berkeley looked at championship NBA teams. And they wondered, were there preseason habits that this team had that the losers didn't have? And it turns out there were, and it was a surprising one. And what it was high fives, fist bumps, and pats on the back. Teams that win at the end of the season have the most high fives, fist bumps, and pats on the back at the beginning of the season. Why? Well, because these aren't just meaningless gestures. These gestures create trust and partnership. They create forward momentum. And so teams that were doing that frequent and early on built trust and partnership and forward momentum that carried them through to win the season. Now, the Wall Street Journal editors read about the study and were like, there's no way this is true. And then wrote a huge article after watching all the tapes and going, actually, this is true. And so when you do that with yourself, you're creating trust and partnership with yourself and forward momentum, sending you into the game of life every day. The other study that people love is the one with students in a classroom. And so researchers wanted to know, if you gave students a really challenging problem to work through, what's the best way to motivate them to work harder, work longer, kind of push through the really challenging aspect of this. And so they tested 3 different types of encouragement. They divided these kids up into 3 groups. The first group, the researchers would walk over and simply tell them something nice, like a compliment. And this is kind of why words of affirmation don't really work. Oh, you're really smart. Oh, you're doing a great job. Oh, I can see you're like whatever. The second group, the researchers walked up and complimented the kids on their effort. Oh, I see you're trying really hard. Oh, I see you really working, the growth versus the fixed mindset. The third group, this is where this gets interesting. The researchers walked up and didn't say a word. They just gave the kid, as they're struggling through this challenge, a high five. Those kids that got a high five outworked, like 10x the other groups.
God.
They worked longer. They worked for better result. And here's the most important part. They felt best about themselves compared to the other groups. Why? Well, the reason why is, again, because it's not just a gesture that's meaningless. What the high five communicated is, I see you. So a high five when somebody's struggling is, I see you're struggling and I'm here to encourage you. It says, I hear you. I hear that you're struggling. I'm here to encourage you. And it says, I believe in you, which is exactly what we all need to hear. This is why, by the way, we are incessant people pleasers. It's because we literally are looking for other people to see us, to tell us that they hear us, and to tell us that they love us, like us, and believe in us. And I'm here to tell you that the best way to get that need that is so important fulfilled is to make it a habit to fill that need for yourself every single morning by high-fiving yourself in the mirror.
it reminds me of kind of something we were talking about earlier, which is just, what am I trying to get from someone? And it was like, for me, I was trying, my whole dilemma was in relationship, and I wanted to be chosen.
Mm.
And I realized in that want or need that my lesson was I was supposed to be giving it to myself. I was supposed to be choosing myself, which I didn't really know how to do.
That usually requires you to leave somebody you're with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because the reality means that probably the situation you're in is a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to, like in my experience, I'm trying to correct the dad wound, right? I'm thinking if I can correct the original wound where I wasn't enough and I was pushed really hard on me and emotionally disconnected, if I can correct it with someone, then everything's okay, but it will never happen. These are just patterns to show you something that you're supposed to look within yourself for. Are there like big aha moments for you that you can think of where it was like, man, that was it. That's where I was supposed to be doing the exact thing I wanted from somebody. Because I think to myself, like even with the high five, it's like a high five yourself. It's like you could also high five other people too. Like, you know what I mean? When
you're already doing that,
the way you treat yourself is the way you treat other people.
You treat everybody else way better than you treat yourself. So the issue is not high-fiving everybody else. The issue is being able to look yourself in the mirror and see a human being that's worthy of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you struggle with shame or regret, or your criticism is relentless, high-fiving yourself is going to feel weird, because when you look in the mirror, you see somebody who doesn't deserve that. You see somebody who's made mistakes. You see the failure. You see the things you regret. And one of the reasons why high-fiving myself in the mirror and adding it as a habit that I start every single day with, I send myself into the game of life with that high five. One of the reasons why it has been so transformative is because it is a tool that teaches me how to heal all the things that I need to heal. It is a tool that teaches me how to like myself as I am, even if I didn't go to the gym, even if I drank a bottle of wine last night and I'm hungover and I said I wouldn't, even if I snapped at my kids, even if I didn't get through the to-do list, even if I still haven't reached my goals, I still look in the mirror and I see a person I like. I see a person I'm encouraging. I see a person who deserves that kind of support. And then I use the tool of the high five habit to give myself that support. And that has changed everything, because when you like yourself, you don't need to seek it from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like other people liking you is a bonus. If other people don't like you, it might sting a little bit, but it doesn't change the fact that you like yourself.
Yeah.
And the reason why you can be sure that you like yourself is because your brain sees you treating yourself every morning with that high five in the mirror, like a person who likes themselves treats themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with respect. The reason why people have tremendous difficulty with boundaries is because they don't respect themselves. They disrespect themselves all day long. So how on earth are they going to find the strength to have boundaries?
Exactly.
It begins with how you treat yourself in the mirror every morning, and then it builds out from there. If you treat yourself with respect, you will not allow somebody else to disrespect you. But we allow other people to disrespect us because we treat ourselves with disrespect.
Yeah.
You build it from the inside out. And so this has been the single greatest lesson of my life. Seriously, that being kind to yourself, being accepting and supportive of yourself is the superpower, is the source of motivation, is the source of confidence. And what I love about it is it's a tool. It costs nothing.
Yeah.
It works for everybody. There's tremendous science.
Yeah.
And it's free.
So one of the things that I've struggled with over the course of the past year is how to come to terms with our new reality, our COVID reality, if you will. And no matter what your living situation is like, this pandemic has turned our lives upside down in the sense that we no longer have distinctions between certain aspects of our life, such as work, working out, socializing, since it's all happening under one roof and sometimes within one room. So I would love your advice about how can we not only accept this new reality, but how do we focus on our productivity and our happiness when every day feels like Groundhog Day?
So Becca has said the $1 million question. How do you accept this new reality? And that word accept is the single most powerful word that I want you to hold on to whenever you're going through any kind of change that has been forced upon you. And look, there isn't a human being on the planet who didn't have their life turned upside down when the pandemic hit. The secret is when life goes upside down, having the emotional resilience and the self-awareness tools to make sure you don't go upside down with it. So how do you do that when the change is hitting you and you don't like the change? Well, as hard as it is, accepting that this is happening is one of the most powerful things that you can do. It's like surrendering to a situation that is outside of your control, because resisting what's happening, bitching about what's happening, complaining about what was happening, wishing it would be different, all of those are forms of resisting, pushing against something, not wanting it to happen. And when you resist something, it persists, it sticks around by talking and complaining and wishing that it were different and griping about the pandemic and I'm so done, blah, 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 blah. You make it bigger. And so a super powerful move is to accept the thing that has happened, because lowering your mental resistance creates an expanded level of room for you to then respond to what's happening, okay? And that's where the power is. It's in choosing how you're going to show up and choosing how you're going to respond to this thing. And so, number one, accept, stop resisting, stop bitching, just accept. Number two, there's this tool that has really helped me through the pandemic in particular. It's also helped me in other moments of my life where there has been something going on that's been incredibly painful, or that's been heartbreaking, or where I've been grieving. And this is a simple mindset tool. And it is remind yourself that this moment is temporary. Remind yourself that this pain is temporary. Remind yourself that this heartbreak is temporary. Remind yourself that even in the case of grieving, the acute, all-consuming grieving and hurt that you feel in the very beginning, over time, that levels out. And so that acute pain is temporary. And there's a little thing that I want you to steal from me. It's what we call an environmental trigger. It is a positive way to cause a mindset switch. And this is the one that I've been using during the pandemic because, it'd be easy to about the pandemic every day. It'd be easy to feel like you just can't take it anymore. It'd be easy to allow yourself to slip into a depression or to just, throw in the towel on your habits and just really let it go in terms of your attitude and your emotional state. Don't do that. You're stronger than that. Remind yourself, hey, I didn't choose this, but I can ride this wave. And this wave is temporary. And so I want you to, in order to leverage this environmental trigger, here's what you're going to do. I want you to fast forward a year. Okay, whatever it is that you're facing right now in your life, the divorce that just got announced, the pandemic that you're in the middle of, the grieving that you're feeling. A year from now, all of that pain is going to be in the rearview mirror. You're going to be a stronger, better version of yourself. What is it that you're excited to do a year from now when you're through this moment? And pick something that's realistic that makes you excited. Don't pick the Maldives unless you live next to them. I want you to pick something that you're actually going to do, because being realistic is really important. For me, when I think about this pandemic and when I get weary, I say, well, this is temporary. And when this is in the rearview mirror, I'm going to go here. This is a image of the state park in Western Michigan where I grew up. There's the little lighthouse. We used to climb this stone kind of break wall all the way out to the end when I was little. And when it's really safe to travel, and when my parents have gotten their vaccine, guess what? I'm going to go home to where I grew up in Western Michigan, and I'm going to go swim in Lake Michigan. And this hangs in my office. And all day long, I sort of glance at it. And when I glance at it, it's a subconscious reminder, a positive environmental trigger. It's something in the environment I'm working in that reminds me, oh yeah, this is temporary. And here's the final thing about going through a challenge. You've accepted it, so you've stopped resisting it. You're reminding yourself that it's temporary. You are putting an environmental trigger that cues you subconsciously that better days are ahead. And the final thing is, allow yourself to experience some joy right now, because you're not going to remember the specifics of this moment in your time, but you're going to remember what it felt like. And even if you're suffering, even if you're going through an enormous challenge, a tremendous loss, even if you're afraid, you can still access joy. You can still step outside and stare at the stars and allow yourself for just a moment to be reminded of the beautiful universe that's around you. You can turn on music and you can have a dance party in your kitchen, even if you're grieving. You can take time out of your day to take care of yourself. You can pull yourself into this moment and notice something that you really love. Like, look at these. You want to see something amazing? Look at these freaking roses. I bought these at the supermarket. Are they not extraordinary? Look at the pink and the green on the edges. Isn't that fabulous? That brings me so much. They don't smell like anything, but the sight of them brings me so much joy. And I can tap into that joy on demand when I want to, even when I'm going through a challenge, even when I'm grieving, even when I'm scared. And being able to tap into that joy on demand like that is what will help you build the resilience to stop resisting what's happening, to remind yourself that this is temporary, to print out some sort of environmental trigger, and to stop and smell the roses. So Deandra asks, I'm 40 years old and I'm in a spot in my life where I feel so lost and alone. I'm terrified I'm losing my best friend of 10 years. We did literally everything together. We were there in a second for each other when we were happy and when we cried. Everything started changing when my friend got engaged and got a new job. I sort of got left behind. Our work schedules are different, but we tried to find time together in the beginning. How many of you can relate to this? That you had a life change, or you moved, or you changed job, and suddenly it impacted a really close friendship? I've certainly had this happen in my life. Then out of nowhere, my best friend found someone else to spend time with. I feel like I'm still at a complete loss. I spoke to my friend about it, and she reassured me that it's due to our different schedules and she'll always be there and still loves me. I'm trying not to be selfish and keep her for myself, but I feel like I have nobody and now I'm alone. How do I handle this without being clingy and telling her how I constantly feel? Where does this leave our friendship? Am I overthinking? Deandra, thank you for this question, because I think it's super relatable. I think so many of us go through this. And I don't think you're gonna like the advice, but it's gonna work. Yes, you are overthinking this. Yes, you are being clingy. At the end of the day, friendships, there's three kinds of friendships. You have friends for a reason, and I learned this from my business partner and friend Mandy. You have friends for a reason. There she is, waving in the mirror behind me. You have friends for a reason, you have friends for a season, and you have friends for a lifetime. And I think your friends for the lifetime are the ones that come in and out of your life with intensity. My very best friend from elementary school, I didn't even invite her to my wedding, because when I got married, I was over 10 years out of high school, certainly 20 years out of elementary school, and we were at a time in our lives where we really hadn't hung out in like 7 years. She wasn't my closest friend then. She's a lifelong friend and has come back into my life with incredible intensity, and we talk all the time, and I love her like crazy, and I'm still somewhat flummoxed that she wasn't in my life when I got married. But you see, I think you need to understand something. There are going to be moments in your life where patterns change, where jobs change, where life circumstances change. And I can't tell you how many of you are single, and when your best friend got engaged or married, or that's my toilet, just don't even worry about it. When your best friends got engaged or married or started having babies, suddenly you didn't see him as much because the patterns changed, but the feelings didn't. And so here's what you need to understand. Number one, length doesn't equal strength. Just because you've been friends for 10 years doesn't mean that the intensity that you were friends 10 years ago is going to be the same intensity. The underlying feelings are still there, but the intensity and the frequency with which you're going to see each other, it's changing. You don't work together. You're not going through the same stuff. I think about my own friendships and so many of my close friends who I saw all the time when my kids were little. Like, we basically raised our kids together. And once our kids hit middle school and started doing different things, I never saw them, ever, because everybody's busy. And I made the mistake that you're making. I made it mean something's wrong with me. I made it mean that because I didn't see my friends as much, they must not like me. And this is the piece of the advice that you're not going to like. You have to look at what buttons this is pushing in you, because you have insecurities, you have a negative opinion, you have stuff from your past that is getting triggered by this. Maybe you have a fear of abandonment, maybe you think nobody loves you, maybe you think you're not good enough, and you're using evidence that the patterns in your life has changed to trigger this insecurity in you, and that's what you have to stop. That's what you have to stop. This isn't about your friend not liking you. This is about you not liking you. And so here's the thing I need you to understand. It's really hard to acknowledge the fact that your lives are no longer synced up. But you got to train yourself to look for the positive. That she still loves you. That she is there for you. And you've got to find new ways to hang out. That's it. That's it. And here's the other thing. You got to go to work on you. You got to start reaching out and finding other friends to fill your life. You got to start investing in yourself in order to pursue the things that are interesting to you. And you've got to recognize that just like your friend has a new chapter in her life or a new season in her life starting, you've got to start a new one in yours. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to, let me see if I can find exercise 3, day 2. Holy cow, day 2. Exercise 3, see day 3 right here? It's on page 7 of the free workbook that you get. So if you sign up for melrobbins.com/springiton and you're struggling with your friendships, and you've got friendships that have run the course of a season, and they're lifelong friends, but you don't see them all the time, and it makes you sad, and you're starting to make it mean something negative about you, this day is super important for you. You're going to turn to page 7 in the Spring It On workbook, and you're going to go through a series of exercises that are going to help you turn inward and go even deeper into figuring out what's missing from your life, what do you need from your friendships, and how you go about building them. Because the thing that you're doing right now, Deandra, in making yourself wrong, it makes me really sad. It really does. Because you don't need to be doing that. You didn't do anything wrong. The patterns in your life changed, and everybody got busy. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the reality of how people spend their time. And I've made this mistake for years, where I look at the fact that my former close friends now are hanging out with a totally different group of people. They didn't drop me. They got busy. That's all that happened. You know, I think about it myself. I hang out more with the people that I work with because I see them all the time. I hang out with people that are on my street because I walk out my front door and I see the people that live across the street from me and I adore them. And so it's easier to be like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Let's grab a drink. It doesn't mean I don't love my other friends. It just means that when the patterns of your life have you overlapping with people more frequently, you're more likely to hang out with them. I mean, think about this. Do you hang out with your college friends all the time? Probably not. Think about what happens when you change a job. I used to be best friends with people 20 years ago when I worked in a law firm. We got lunch together every day. I knew everything about their lives. I haven't talked to them in 19 years. Might see them on Facebook. Doesn't mean I don't like those people. It just means they're not the best friends of mine anymore because the patterns have changed. My friends from CNN. I love all my friends from CNN. I haven't worked there in 2.5 years. I never see them. Doesn't mean I don't adore them. It means the patterns of my life have changed. And so have the patterns of yours. So stop making it mean something negative about you. Accept the reality and understand that you and your decisions and the way that you look at things can have a positive impact on changing it for the better. That's it. That's all there is to do. Stop making yourself wrong, look at where you are in your life, and start making new friends. And still love your old friends, okay? And I keep telling you, I'm a realistic optimist, which means I get it. It sucks when you're not seeing your best friend anymore. I get it. It can be scary when life changes. But I'm positive that your behavior and the way that you think can have a positive impact and make a difference in this situation. And that's what I want you to understand. And so the other thing I want you to understand is that in case nobody else tells you today, let me be the one to tell you, I love you. I do. I do, because I believe in you and I believe in your ability to accept what's going on, to be realistic about the issues that you're facing, but to change the way you look at it and to change the way that you approach things. And that will change absolutely everything. And that's why I believe in you, and that's why I'm here every day. I'm here on your worst days to help you through it. I'm here on your best days to help you celebrate it. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for checking this video out. And if you like this one, I have a feeling you're going to like this one too. I'll see you there.